Wagwan Nation is that guy. Today, very special video, Samson locks. A lot of people talk about Samson. 7 dreads that he had, and this is a very biblical story of Samson and his 7 locks, and his strength laid in his dreadlocks, actually. So make sure you stay tuned, stay subscribed. This is the story of Samson. Samson, Hebrew Shimshon, legendary Israelite warrior and judge, or divinely inspired leader, renowned for the prodigious strength that he derives from his uncut locks. He is portrayed in the biblical book of Judges, chapters 13 through 16. We see a lot of dreads today compared to Samson with the 7 locks. Now, sure, the images of Samson here might not reflect dreadlocks exactly, but I do feel and believe that they were locks and not just braids on his head. We see a lot of divine power in dreads through different spiritualities, through different cultures. So I actually admire the story of his strength that was retained within his locks, and Samson, being a mighty warrior himself, was soon let down by a very simple weakness, which was his woman. Samson's story begins with him meeting Delilah, the lovely woman of his life, who essentially was his biggest downfall. The name Delilah is a meaning of amorous delight, languishing temptress. In the Old Testament, Samson's mistress Delilah tricked him into revealing the secret of his strength, then betrayed him to the Philistines. She seduces Samson into sleeping on her lap, where she actually had guards come in and cut off his dreads, his locks, tearing away his strength, and ultimately having his eyes gouged out. That's so violent.
What?
I've asked you over and over again, but you keep lying to me. Where does your strength come from?
The secret to my power is in my hair.
Now, I swear, if anyone would cut my hair, cut my dreads in my sleep, oh man, there would be something to pay in regards to that, because that's just pure disrespect. And Delilah here, chopping off his locks in the middle of his sleep, doesn't even care about the wellness and livelihood of Samson. There's lots of different images of her cutting off Samson's locks. None of them really portray dreads specifically, but again, I do feel they were dreads. It would have been nice and locked up. And it's just unfortunate that, you know, his locks is kind of like the Achilles heel, you know, where all the strength comes down to the heel. And this picture here specifically looks like what would be Samson's locks being cut off, and I feel like his hair would have looked like this more so than the stupid looking braids that we've seen in some of these other pictures. Now, obviously, dreadlocks can't hold powers of strength, physical strength, but they can hold spiritual beliefs, you know. Not to say it's going to give you psychic powers or a sort of connection with the divine, but you can definitely have your locks represent something and symbolize something in your life that gives you power within your confidence.
What is going on? It feels so weird. What? No.
So she chops off his locks, guards come and take him away and lock him up as a prisoner. And Samson is betrayed. And you know, this does happen in real life. I've seen stories of women cutting off much more than dreads and hair off of their mans when they're upset with them. But Samson's locks these days would probably look something more like this, locks of 7. And I know you've seen people out there with 7 locks alone on their head, and they definitely end up being quite thick if that's the number that you have on your head top. Another example here, Low-Key Lundy, he would be rocking maybe around 7 or 8 locks. When people say, oh, you only have 7 dreads on your head, people would think that doesn't look that good. I think it's a great opportunity to grow some really thick dreads, and that's probably what would happen with just 7 dreads on your head. But in regards to Samson's 7 locks, he actually got put to death death row, and during that time he actually found some strength within and grew his dreads back, and actually ended up killing a lot of people with his death on death row. And here's the clip that kind of finalizes that. So I mean, there you have it, just a quick overview of the story of Samson. Go check out your local King James Version Bible yourself for the same story if you want to learn some more about it. And definitely subscribe on the channel here, Not Nation. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Samson's Locs of 7, super strengthful. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, one love, brothers and sisters. I'm gone. Like more.
Blessings and welcome forward once again to Reasonings right here at the Tree of Life. I'm Jerome Sage Butler. I want to give thanks for Rahman, Baba, and for Isa Char as well too. Yeah. This next topic is very, I would say, it's a very popular topic nowadays, and I think about a year ago there was this incident. I think was it in a corridor was it a train station where I think a black girl accosted a white male for wearing dreadlocks and said, "That's not your culture. Why are you pirating black culture?" And it sent ripples across the internet, right? I watched a couple of videos, people talking good, bad, and arguing, and some saying good things. And I think I watched this one that brought a good perspective. So I said, let me do one from my own understanding, informed by some of my research. All right, I have locks. What do I refer to my locks as? You know, interesting, I refer to my locks as my hair. Do you know that? Wow. Yes. I'm not in this dreadlocks philosophy. I'm sorry. Sorry to offend people who are deep into dreadlocks philosophy. I am not. This is my hair. Now, I'm going to say it again, because it might sound a little condescending, sound a little like I'm warped or going off a little. This is my hair. See? My H-A-I-R. That's the word used to represent what this is, right? This is my hair. There are lots of philosophies around locks, dreadlocks. Rastafari has a strong religious perception around locks as a representation of your natural self, one that is not skewered by Babylon or the Eurocentric influence upon African peoples in the West. Hence, I think that's where the young lady was coming from when she was saying that locks is black people's traditions, right? There are another set of people who say black people's hair mat naturally. Their reference is going back to Guantanamo Buddha with matted hair, where it says that matted hair doesn't make it a master, right? So the matted hair, the locks, it's been a way we have worn our hair time immemorial. So what angle is Jerome Sage Butler looking at locks on? Am I promoting myself? Well, you're watching Seala Media, and this is Jerome Sage Butler. Pardon me if I seem to be promoting myself. Please like and subscribe on Seala Media, you know what I mean, to keep up with the information, right? I'm approaching locks from the point of view that it is actually God-given. It's our hair, it's indigenous. When we were more naturally into the natural environment before we built the built environment, right, i.e. civilization, right, locks represented more than just a fashion statement. Yeah, for real. It was more of a survival mode. So then the grand master, the great master, would have the most matted hair. It would be the longest, thickly matted, and as they said, it was a shield from predators, wild animals, because I don't know if you have dreadlocks or if you wear your hair like this, but I do, right? Animals tend to be very afraid, especially if you approach them at night, or if you have it up in a little style, and you come and say, hey! You understand? Go, and I'm not cruel to animals, don't get it twisted, okay? I'm just saying, they tend to be very scared. But remember, some dreadlocks have matted here, you know, like really matted here, like, you know, really matted here. So like you can see, like, you know, I used to say, you know, Bushman, you know, black art man, oh, coming to get you, right? Because the indigenous man with his locks was very dreadful and terrible. That's where the word dread and terror comes, especially in Rastafari when the Holy Light started to locks their hair, right? That's in like the 30s, right? Because they're original Holy Lights and they followed Garvey, they were Garveyites, right? So they started matting their ears and then they became, matting their hair and then they became Rastafari, right? So the Batawi in Ethiopia, high priest, a most ancient priest, you know, through the Aksumite Empire, they've got matted here. And, you know, the ancient Dravidians in India, they also got matted here, right? The Sardus got matted here. And every indigenous nation from Syria right across to even old Europe have individuals with matted here. The indigenous man's matted here, like I said, it was more of a protection, wasn't a fashion statement, wasn't just a statement of naturality of or religiosity or a reclamation of anciency, right? It was more a symbol or just his life, right? It was just her life. Her hair is, how she wore her hair, as protection from the elements, how she was in tune with the cosmic, how she was in tune with nature, and how the nature of her hair kept her connected to the Most High, right? So I'm approaching here from that standpoint, because when I first wanted to locks, my hair wanted to be like this. Though I had people telling me, well, you know, you need to survive, you know, you're in university, maybe you need to think about getting a job, you can get it if your locks is neat and all this stuff, right? So I had some issues with my hair at first, right? But eventually I settled it in as I settled into the understanding of myself, right? So then I begin to understand how it is that I am expressed through my hair. So then I realized it is an extension of my being, but it isn't the complete nature of my being, right? So I'm not bashing people who wear locks currently for fashion statements, right? Because who am I? Am I a judge or something? I wear my hair because it is my natural, you know, place and position in nature to be like this, right? And as I grow older, my hair is, all of it is becoming like that one I showed you, because I'm free past psychologies of hair and why you wear your hair. So I think the judgmental nature of people who are still looking at people with matted hair has some kind of a, you know, abhorrence to their connection is out of line, and I think it's time we get past these things, because I think for real we are overboard on that one. And my culture still has people who are judging you, though they have it in the textbooks that all of us are equal and you shouldn't discriminate. But locks is heavily regarded as a Rastafarian tradition in Jamaica, and so it is, because Rastafari have popularized locks in Jamaica. And some Rastas are offended that you have a class of maybe even, you know, Eurocentric Christians who are wearing locks. Because I know some people, when they watch my channel, you know, some Rastas, they don't like the Christian mindedness. Some Rastas, they love it, right? And some Christian people, they don't love it because it's too Rasta. But remember, now, please don't know. This is my experience. Get with it, or, you know, get with your own. I don't know. So, you know, locks is basically for anyone that chooses to wear locks, wear their hair like this, right? Now, if you have a spiritual attachment, then you're going to either, you know, wrap up your hair, maybe a bobo, maybe a Nyahbinghi, you know, maybe you're a Muslim, you know, maybe whatever the reason why you cover your hair, you know what I mean? You have people who ascribe to their Rasta, but them have a Muslim, you know, symbology and symbolism, and vice versa. You have Muslims who have a lot of Rastafarian symbolism too, and Jews with Rastafarian symbolism, some Jews with locks too. So I mean, you've seen that the locks phenomenon is expanding. It's like we're going back to indigenous man, it's like we're going back to indigenous woman, indigenous self, that we can be like this. And my final point, not final, because there's no final, my next point I want to bring up, and I remember I'm trying to connect with my ancestors and the spirit as we're talking, right? And they're saying to me, because they want this point be known, so I'm just going to be very patient in how I articulate. They're saying to me to say to people who are like possibly judging people, they're saying, notice what I said about how my friends wanted me to grow my locks neat. The spirit is saying to me, especially in the modern society, that there are these fashion houses, what do you call them, salons, right, that are neatly twining people's hair and telling them that is how they lock their hair. The spirit is saying to cut that out. Seriously, cut that out. I'm not telling you don't be a beautician's dream. Stop telling people that's how to lock their hair. Please. Don't insult nature, okay? There are people who naturally are matting their hair as God allowed, or as God is allowing them, or how they're desiring it. And it's chunky, it's fat. Stop judging those people. Stop with your judgmental attitudes towards those people. Those people are some of the most brilliant minds. And their antennas, this natural communication tool with the cosmic that's picking up the vibratory signals of the ether, they're very aligned with it. That is why they got their hair up in all these nice fashion. This is why the spirit wants the hair to mat. It creates a stronger magnetism. See, I got to it because they told me be patient. So ancient man had a stronger magnetism because his hair was matted. Ancient woman's hair was matted. All the way, it grew. It pulled the cosmic in. It attracted more knowledge, more energy, more awareness. Stop judging those brothers and those sisters with their humongous locks. Stop judging them. Please. Hallelujah. The soul is asking, cut it out. If they're popping up in your churches, understand them, or they're just going to move on. God will not forsake them because you can't have it in your mentality to see them as they are. But God is going to continue to speak to their heart, and they're going to continue to grow their hair like that. They're going to continue to mat it that way. Accept it. Accept yourself. There are a lot of people who they talk about, they're so aware of who they are, and they cut their precepts barely. They cut their hair. You can search your scriptures. You can say, oh, remember where I started? Now I reached the Nazarene vow. I take my time. I'm not trying to do this to make money or try to be popular. I'm trying to relate a message. The Nazarene vow recounts what? No raise up on your head, up on your beard. Wasn't it said to be a most divine connection between man and his creator? Wasn't it said to be a clear differential between male and female? Wasn't it a clearly defined order? Some says it's for a while. Who am I to say otherwise? Some says the Nazarene vow is cycles and you go there maybe 7 years, 21 years, whatever it is. Some say there are Nazarenes who do not have matted hair. That is true. But it doesn't grow. Right? So, there are many ways to look at the Nazarene vow. The essence of matted hair or dreadlocks, you know, is heavily presented to us as a postmodern attempt to recapture some antiquity, and hence the more cultural and fervent Rasta take offense to seeing certain groups of people parade with locks, right? And sometimes you have some people who think fashionable, it's like a fashion statement, like those who are, you know, twisting here and talking about they're locking it. Yeah, you know. So we understand. But please remember the essence, because those same people who are doing that, it's unhealthy for the hair root and for the true hair follicle. You're damaging the hair by what you're doing. You know you're damaging the hair. And sorry, for some who don't know, you are damaging the hair by doing that. I hear people tell me all the way, oh, your hair is so beautiful, it's so healthy, what do you do? Can I tell you? I think I should tell you, but I'll tell you in my testimony, right? Because I'm going to do the testimony, or the second half of my testimony today, right? So I'll tell you how it is that my hair looks so, as people say, so beautiful. And why it is that the old one looks this way. I'll tell you, all right? So there's a reason for everything. So to have healthy hair and to be yourself, just be true. Just be true to who you are. Your hair knows how it wants to be. Some people, their hair will never mat and it will never grow past their shoulders. Some people, it will always mat into thick, congealed bunch or one. Because what? It's the frequency they're on. It's the energy. Just like the First Nations or the ancient peoples. So honor your dreadlock. Honor your hair traditions. Love your hair for what it is. And don't judge the other nations. You know, because it's in all traditions. So let us be real, you know what I mean? But love your locks, you know. Love your traditions because of dreadlocks. You know, love Rastafari. And if this is how you have come to matted hair, just love it. But remember, Buddha had matted hair. Just remember that there is a history, a culture, an anciency surrounding matted hair or Locs here. Rastafari, Yeshua, Divine Christ, our ancestors be praised, be loved. Thank you all, brilliant, lockshead, dreadlocks, indigenous looking man and woman. You're all awesome beauties, sparks of divine light, divine life. Continue to be your awesome natural appearance, your natural self. Transitioning from all those synthetic, biosynthetic, or artificial now to the organic, original man and woman. Blessings.
Peace. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about why one should lock their hair, or why I lock my hair, and why I will never cut my hair. And think about it. Where does your hair grow from? Your scalp. What's underneath your scalp? Your skull. What's underneath your skull? Your brain. Right? The brain is full of nerves. You know, even if I simply touch my hair, I can feel this, you know. And why do I feel it? Even if someone were to touch out here, you know, I can feel that. Because this is all connected to nerves. Right? Our hair is just an extension of all that. Everything outer is an extension of what's inner. So yeah, I would never cut my hair. And not to say that my nerves are gone when if someone with a shaved head, like no shade, because my mama got a shaved head, and you still have your nerve endings up there. But what the locks do, I feel like it protects that, and it's also an extension of that. So you're able to just really, you just are able to feel more. Spiritually, they're like antennas. You'll hear many people say that locks are just like antennas. They're truly taking in information, and that's why I often cover my locks. You know, when I do videos and take pictures, I'll often have my locks out, but a lot of the time, you know, during the day, or I'm a teacher, especially when I teach, I usually cover my locks because I'm taking in a lot of information through them. Yeah, it's also the same way with spirit, you know, when I'm meditating and such. I feel like they help me to connect with spirit. I would never cut my hair, you know. I don't foresee myself cutting them. I foresee myself keeping these locks until, you know, I'm out of the physical realm. They could go past my feet and I'll continue to grow them. Because that's what they naturally do. You know, our hair can become so long, and when I was a little girl, I always thought, you know, like, oh, black people, our hair doesn't get long. Yes, it does. Naturally, our hair is longer than most. In fact, not even just black people, but anyone can grow locks, and anyone's hair can grow that long. But when the hair is locked, that is like the longest it will get, because it's so strong and it's coming together naturally. And I just feel like whatever's natural is probably right. Like the Most High probably got it right. Peace.
We live in Kailita, in Harare village. We are come here to cherish our message for the righteous movement. We is a Rasta man. This place is so important because we're here, we so respected this place. Because we are here to praise Jah because it's a place to believe.
What we usually do here as Rastas, we usually come here to re-energize our spirits. We like normally come and relax, yeah, and like connect with nature. What I love about the place is there's lots of stuff like, there's lots of herbs, there's clean water. You know, even if you wash here, the water is very good for cleansing your aura.
This water is coming from the mountain. It's good water because it is not chemicals. It's so clean and beautiful. It's the image of the lion when you see, and you see the shampoo is down in the head. So if the dreadlocks clean, the mind should be free.
Normally, when I make shampoo, I use like all natural ingredients. I take like the bark of the prickly pear, the tree. When you normally use that, it works as a shampoo and a conditioner. Put rosemary in there, and then we put lavender in there, and then I also use like some essential oils, you know. For me, my hair is very important, you know. I don't cut my hair, I don't comb my hair, you know, I just wash my hair. In the African culture, everyone had an afro, you know. It's either if you did something bad, if you were practicing witchcraft, or you're going through a cleansing, that was the only time you'd cut your hair. Other than that, you didn't cut your hair. Hair, much like the skin color, is a great identifier of one's freedom, like oneself. And once that is stripped away from you, then surely we cannot call it freedom. Like many years ago, when I first became a Rasta, my mother used to say, please, my child, you must cut your hair because the government is going to be afraid of you, because she knew if I want to grow my hair and do such things, then it's going to be a problem for me. Hair for us African people is something very, very precious. Hair serves as an antenna for you to not only connect with nature, but with your inner God. If my hair is meant to grow this way, who am I or anyone else to deny it? I think it's a problem everywhere, not even in South Africa, because people don't like something that's different. If people are not used to this, they become uncomfortable and then they fight against it instead of trying to understand, you know. If you're not allowed to carry natural hair, then much is taken away from you. If a nation of people can't fight to be gay, or even a government can oppress people and tell them to only have one children per lifetime, then surely the world is wrong, my lord. So us being here is us escaping from that system, is us escaping from everything that's wrong. Hence why us Rastas, we endure and we uplift and we uphold naturality as much as possible.
Now I'm got 59 years. And now we are here with Rastas, with brethren. And the Rastas is the way of the life. Rastafari.
Seala. Fayah. Yes, my lord.
Peace and light, family. I hope that you are well. So today we are talking about the history of locks, and not just free-form locks, not semi-free-form, not just organic, cultivated, sister locks, whatever. We are talking about the history of all forms of locks. So let's get started. Now, when you talk about the history of locks, every culture wants to claim locks. From India to the Europeans, everybody wants to say we started locks. But I think it is undisputable that locks first began in my drum roll, because y'all know I don't have sound effects. So, locks first began in ancient Egypt. Yes, y'all, Kemet, which is the original name for ancient Egypt. It is proven that the ancient Egyptians, from the beginning of civilization, have had locks. Yes, you guys, mummies have been found with locks intact from their skull all the way down to their feet, and sometimes the locks would even wrap around their feet. It is said that once people became in power in ancient civilization, they would start their locks, and their locks would signify their power. So the longer your locks were, the longer it signified that you had been in power. So locks were an example of power in ancient Egypt. Now, why is that important to know? It is important to know because a lot of people, and I hope that most people do know and understand that Egypt was the center of the Pangea. Egypt is the birthplace of civilization. So that just tells us how long locks have been around. Locks have been here from the beginning of civilization. This is not a new hairstyle. This is not just a fashion statement. There is history behind these locks. However, locks did not just stop in ancient Egypt. As time wore on, the Pangea split, and then you have different continents. That journey of traveling from continent to continent, also that culture from ancient Egypt traveled with the people. So in Europe, yes, people did have locks. There are depictions from the Minoan civilization from 3600 BC. There are depictions of people wearing locks. You have the depictions of people with brown clay skin and locks from their crown all the way down to their feet. So yes, there were people in Greece who had locks 3600 BC and forward. There were people in Rome. There are stories of the Celts having long rope-like woolly hair. Come on, y'all, that's locks. People. In India, the deity Shiva is often depicted with locks, and these pictures go back all the way to 1500 BC, where the deity Shiva had locks. Now, a lot of the dates I keep giving are BC. However, in the Bible, before and after Christ, there are a lot of stories where it is believed that the people or the characters in those stories had locks. I'll give you an example. Samson. The story of Samson is a man who had power in his hair. The way they described his hair, long, woolly ropes, locks. Long woolly ropes is how they would describe his hair. So it is believed that Samson, this hair that gave him so much power, once again signifying power, was actually locks. So not only do locks signify power, locks also have a deep spiritual meaning for a lot of people. It is said that locks are a sign of protection. They protect our crown chakra or our chi. The crown chakra is where it is believed that we harness our energy, our power. So our main energy that starts at our root chakra and travels up through our sacral chakra, travels up to our solar plexus chakra, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye our third eye chakra, and then it rests in our crown chakra where we receive messages from the supreme energy. We receive power from the supreme energy. We harness light from the supreme energy. Our locks protect our crown chakra. So yes, our locks are also a method of protection and ensuring that we hold and keep that light, that beauty, that crown sacred chi energy that keeps us going and keeps us aligned and enlightens all of our other chakras in alignment. So these locks also protect our crown. Not only are locks a protection for the crown energy, but locks also in a lot of cultures are a signifier of having deep spiritual healing power. For example, in India, a lot of sadhus, a lot of healers, a lot of shamans wear locks. And the longer their locks are, the longer it signifies that they have been dedicated to their spiritual selves. And then, of course, we all know Rastafarian culture, I would hope, thanks to the great great Bob Marley, God rest his soul. Bob Marley is a beautiful being because not only did he spread love, light, and magic through his music, he is a brother that made it acceptable for people to wear locks, and not just any type of locks, but freeform locks. And he made it a sign of love and a symbol of peace and deep spiritual dedication. So shout out to Bob Marley, who dedicated his life to the Rastafarian movement. And something that he did by locking his hair was he showed that, yes, I am a Rasta, and Rasta stand in love. Rasta stand here in peace. Rasta stand here in light. And the way you can recognize us is by our symbol of this dedication, which are freeform locks. So much love to all my Rasta brethren. So from ancient Egypt to India, to Europe, to America, to Jamaica, to DR, to Haiti, everywhere you go, there are people who have locks today. The Maasai still are very well known for their long, thin, red clay locks that they rock, and it represents that they are Maasai warriors. And then you have here in America, where we, as Black Americans, we wear our locks as a representation and pride of our culture. And in Jamaica, you have Rastas and other people who aren't Rastas that choose to rock their locks more for the representation and the pride of their culture. So no matter what you choose to get locks for, please understand that there is a deep-rooted history when you rock these locks. They represent a culture, they represent power, they represent peace, they represent protection, but most of all, they represent us. Locks are a positive, loving, peaceful representation of who you are and the spirit that you carry with you. So rock them with pride, rock them with love, and most importantly, care for your jewels, because they too protect you. Much love and light, family. I hope that you are well.
Based on the way you want to think, it leads to the food where give that inspiration, which was vegetable. So I find out, so based on what I think, I slowly transcend from meat to vegetable. Yeah, man. It was a natural transition. You never know when it happened, you see me? But based on how you want to think, I feel that make me gravitate to the vegetable, because the vegetable and positive thoughts go together. Hunting, animalistic thoughts go with eating meat, because you really have to hunt the meat and kill it, so you have to have the butcher mindset there. You see me? I say, so based on the opposite of that, preserving life leads to vegetable, because vegetable is not, you know, kill vegetable for eat vegetable. Vegetable having live nutrients, live enzyme. So based on that, I feel that helps to generate positive thoughts. So I feel that causes a transition from meat to vegetable. Because them say iron sharpened iron. So if I have a piece of iron, I need something where tough like iron to sharpen it. So in the sense of saying vegetable not aggressive. You see me? I say, so when you consume the vegetable, you gain the same momentum as the vegetable. While animals now, if you consume the animal, you become aggressive like the animal. That's why society is so aggressive, because society mostly eat meat. If we have a vegetable-based society, we would have more positive growth in the society in terms of how people think and how they live in their day-to-day lifestyle.
Is your reason for eating, having an ITIL diet, is it more health reasons or is it more a consciousness approach?
It's both. First, in order for you to develop a proper thought, I guess your mind have to be fit. You know, it's just like if you have a race to enter and you're a race car driver, you have to ensure say your vehicle up to par. You see, because, and the same thing with we is really a vehicle. And in order to get the best out of your vehicle, you have to put in the best fuel. And vegetables seem to be the best fuel. For people who don't live or live around organic food, because in Jamaica we mostly consume organic food. Rasta mostly consume organic food or food that we grow ourselves. Well, I advise them to start grow the food that they eat. In them backyard, in them garden, in them house, on them house top. Grow the food that they eat, because we mostly eat vegetable. And most vegetable grow anywhere through direct sunlight or battery powered light or electricity. You see me, I say light generated from electricity. So I advise them to start grow them vegetable in them house or in them garden or them backyard. Get rid of the land and plant up a farm. Planting food is like raising children. Yeah, because if you don't protect the plant, the bugs eat it. And if you don't water the plant, it wither away, because the plant needs that nourishment, the plant needs that someone to look over it. And by planting the food, you develop a balance, you develop a relationship with the food. Yeah, you know, you develop that love that you have for your child, you develop the same love for the food. So when you plant it with that vibe and you reap it, it's like a cycle within planting the food and reaping it. It's like you plant your blessing, you know. You plant something where you consume, you're more in tune. Yeah, that we feel when you plant the food where you eat, or eat the food where you plant, yeah, make you more in tune.
Anxiety and depression are diagnosis of Western practitioners. Now, people will not make the connection between diet and spirituality and anxiety and depression. But our ancestors and Jamaican tradition, they knew if your nerves start take you, that they should go get some soursop leaf and boil it and give you, or you drink it at night time, or some guava leaf, because they are inextricably bound, all of these things. And we need to recognize that we cannot, compartmentalize one thing and this and the, your health is not over here, your mental state is over here, your nutrition is over here, and your relationships are over here. They're all bound. When your liver is not working, you're very angry. You're also very depressed. You're also very sluggish. So many things can happen when your body is filled with toxins, right? If your body is filled with parasites, your temperament is also going to be disturbed, right? I mean, biblically, they would refer to the demons, and they always reference the pigs. If you eat a lot of pig, then you're going to get a lot of parasites, and you're going to be filled with parasites. Your vibration is going to be lowered. Your vitality is going to be lowered. Your mental acumen is going to be lowered, right? So when we think of anxiety and depression, and these things are modern phenomena more so than before, it's because we are disconnected from ourselves. It is because we are disconnected from nature. It is because we are not nourishing our body properly, and it is because we are not detoxing our bodies properly. So how do I propose to look at it? I think I recommend that we take the time to go and immerse in nature. That is the best thing you can do to get rid of your anxiety. Take your shoes off so you can reconnect with the earth, right? We are electromagnetic. The sun is electric, the earth is magnetic. We are electromagnetic. If we don't pray, if we don't meditate, the connection between heaven and earth becomes disconnected. We are the conductor. Think about it. When we pray, I mean, and I'm not going to be religious here, I'm being spiritual here. When we pray, prayer is a form of commune with the divine and with nature. And so if you were to do a visualization, when you pray, the light comes into your body through your crown chakra, and it goes through your entire body and it nourishes you. And then that's a circle. It's almost like, you know, in physics you see the magnet and the flow of energy around it. That's exactly how it is with a human. We're here, the energy flows in, it flows down through our feet into the earth, and it's like that. We also pulling it up from the earth and it goes around. When that is interrupted or broken, that is when you have the illness. That's when you have depression. That's when you have anxiety. That is when you start to have physical ailments as well. Because one of the things that we emphasize a lot in Wellness Experience Jamaica is that sometimes illness is not necessarily physical, it is energetic. And so all you require is some energy healing. Energy healing is equal to immersion in nature. Go to the river, go to the beach, go out into your lawn and lie down, right? Go up to the top. If you're on a high building, go out on the balcony and breathe in some fresh air. Watch the sunset, watch the sunrise, watch some birds in your garden, right? So those are some things that you can do to shift your energy. You can raise your energy or your vibration also by listening to music, because music is a frequency, it's energy as well. And depression and anxiety sometimes have to do with the brain and one area being overactive or understimulated or undernourished. And so if you can stimulate the brain with some frequencies, and I always tell people, go onto YouTube and type in solfeggio frequencies, type in love frequency, type in frequency for anxiety, type in frequency for depression, type in frequency for sadness, jealousy, any kind of emotion. There is a frequency to assist the brain to come back into equilibrium. Yeah? Another thing that you can do is dance. No, dancing has always been a part of our culture as a people, melanated people. We full of rhythm. So dancing is very much a part of melanated peoples. It is something that we do naturally. We hear the drums are healing. People don't recognize that drums and rhythm are healing. And just a sidebar, in certain African countries, if any member of the tribe started experiencing signs of mental instability, they would get them out there, they would play the drums, and they have to stamp their feet, stamp, stamp, stamp. If you think about it, that's like you're grounding, you're earthing, you're reconnecting back with Mother Nature and the vibration. So energetically, right? Mental illness, anxiety, depression have to do with the energy body being out of balance. So the dancing that we do as Jamaican people and as people of color is part of what keeps us grounded, what keeps us connected. Every ceremonial ritual for every people all over the world involves dancing. It involves sound and it involves dancing, right? So I tell people, listen, if you're feeling depressed or if you feel anxious, turn on some music in your living room and dance, right? If you like reggae, put on the reggae. If you like salsa, put on the salsa. Whatever it is, put it on and dance, and you will feel better. I mean, some people are going to say, come on, this is chemical and this needs to be medicated. No. Before medication, people handled this kind of thing with ease. They knew what to enhance the nutrition with. They knew what to do to the body to get it back, you know, so it can be done. Another thing that this might seem far-fetched and unrelated to anxiety and depression, but a simple thing like coming home and taking a bath, a long warm bath in a solution of sea salt, bicarbonate of soda, and Epsom salts can also bring you back into balance, get rid of or release the anxiety, and quell to some extent certain aspects of the depression. No, I still recommend that people go and see a professional or practitioner if it is severe, but if you can incorporate these things into your day, then you will find that those things get diminished. The thought form that you hold also will influence anxiety or depression. Persons who suffer from anxiety and depression dwell a lot in the past or dwell a lot in the future. So they're anxious about the future or they're sad about the past. And so if you can become a little bit more present and just say, listen man, I'm grateful, I'm here, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I have food on the table, I have one little work, although the people them stress me. If you can just look at it and change your thought patterns to one of more gratitude and acceptance, then you are good. And the last one, and it's not the least, it's actually the most significant thing. If you can think of what it is that might be the root cause of your anxiety or your depression, and you can remove the root cause, then I think you'll be in a good place. So if it's a relationship and you can remove it, then by all means go ahead. If it's a job and you can remove it, then by all means try to do so. If it's a living situation and you can change it, then try to do so. But at all times, be looking at how you can figure out what the root cause is. Yeah? And that would be it in terms of anxiety and depression. On another note, there are some mineral and vitamin deficiencies that can cause depression and anxiety. B12 is one of them. So if your B12 is very low, your iron will also be low. And if your iron is low, you're going to be sad, you're going to feel hopeless, you're going to feel weak and helpless. And so sometimes all you need to do is eat some food or get some supplementation.
What were your thoughts when you formulated the
compound?
Right.
The way that the compounds came into existence, was being a steam engineer, I knew that the pH value, the pH factor, had a lot to do with healing. And the herbalists then, like the herbalists today, are unaware that the pH factor has a lot to do with it. Meaning this, I said that if God tell us that the herbs are for the healing of the nations, in the book of Genesis, in the book of Ezekiel, in the book of Exodus and the book of Revelation. It says that the herbs are for the healing of the nation. Then as I go further into the history of medicine, this is what I found, that the great Hippocrates used herbs to cure disease, and that he cured every disease known to man. This man was curing every disease in Greece 365 years before Christ was even born. So when people tell us that only Jesus heals, you remind them that Hippocrates was here long before he was born, 300 years. So I said, if Jesus cured with herbs, Hippocrates cured with herbs, and God said the herbs, then what's up? Why aren't we curing with herbs today? Mm-hmm. So I said, one day when I went to work, my wife and I was talking all night. We were engaged in this conversation about these herbs. So Ma said to me that there could be something locked someplace that prevent us from accomplishing the goals that Jesus Christ and Hippocrates accomplished. When I went to work that night, I found it. I laughed. Oh, I was so happy. I was extremely happy because I said, it is required of us to maintain the pH at 6.9. At 7, which is the neutral zone, pH of 7 is neutral. And if it is slightly on the acid side, it's 6.9. And the reason why we maintain the pH at 6.9 is to keep the tubes of the boiler clean, that there will be no life form in there. But if the pH is 7.1, oh, now you're going to experience life. Mm-hmm. Life form will begin to accumulate in the tubes of the boiler, preventing the radiant heat or the convection heat from reaching the tubes. I said that if life was so powerful that it could exist in a temperature of 450 degrees, then the herbs that heal would have to be alkali on 7 plus instead of acid 6.9. Then I begin to check the pH of all the herbs. I begin to test it. I test comfrey, acid. I test garlic, acid. I also tested aloe vera, St. John wort, rose hips, comfrey. All of these things are very acid. Carrot juice is extremely acid, yet the healers in New York then and now are still recommending these acid foods. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, let me investigate further to see which are the alkali herbs. Mm-hmm. And I begin to see that burdock, yellow dock, also the elderberry, mm-hmm. These are alkali plants. Also the Virginia snake root, that's alkali. One has to know the herbs that are alkali opposed to the herbs that are acid. This today is not really considered, nor do they follow that particular, road or understanding, because the herbalists of today are recommending peppermint. Peppermint is very acid. Mm-hmm. Peppermint freezes the brain. Some even recommend peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is extremely caustic. Mm-hmm. So now we have this kind of information in front of us being disseminated and carried out. Mm-hmm. So there's confusion in the population. But the one thing that my supporters or the people that helped me, that counseled me, they said to me, Sebi, the one thing that you have in your favor is that you have cure and you are curing the diseases that others are not curing. So that is the barometer that tells us that the acid herb that they're using prevent them from reaching the goal that they're pursuing. Mm-hmm.